Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You know what's never ordinary?
What's
Neal
that,
Dexter.
William?
Honestly,
Neal.
the game is, we'll get
Neal.
to it. He called the Flyers getting shut out today.
Neal,
There's something going on.
something's going on. Neal, I had an idea. If you're in the chat, you just put up the first 5 numbers that come into your brain. Don't think, just
Don't
type
think.
them. And then Bill and I are going to play the lottery. And if we win,
Yeah.
you'll never see us again.
Yeah. It'll be JP by himself
Yeah.
on Monday.
Chuck's on his own.
Yeah.
See ya, Charlie.
Chuck will have no idea. I'll have deleted my cell phone number.
Yeah, you'll
And
never hear from
all
me
of
again.
my social media accounts.
Exactly.
That's what this game today made me want to do. But Neal, honestly, get in touch with me somehow. You have an open invitation to co-host a pre and post game one day, whenever you want. We will make it happen. That is now 3 predictions in a row
You
for Neal
have
Dexter.
to come here.
It's absolutely insane what's going on here. Also insane is what's going on with the Flyers. Yes, they had won their previous 2 games, and it was like, all right, well, they're getting the defensive structure together. They're starting to look like an NHL hockey team again, so that's good. But today, it was all the offensive problems, and Boston showed up.
Who let the moms leave?
Yeah, that
I want to know who let the moms leave.
It seems as if the team really didn't want to disappoint the moms.
Yeah.
And now that they're
And
gone,
I got news for you, boys. You did.
yeah.
They saw it.
Yeah.
Your mothers are crying.
We'll talk about the offense. Sam Ersson, though, this is maybe, I guess the offense is outside of one 7-goal game. Like,
That's all the goals. That was all of them.
In which they had 6 shots through 40 minutes,
Right.
but still ended up somehow scoring 7 goals.
Sure.
The offense is an ongoing issue here, and we're going to talk to Charlie about that plenty as well.
Yeah.
But Sam Ersson, about 7.5 minutes in, leaves the game. Stopped 8 of 8, so that was nice. Maybe 8
No
shots
one
and
knows
7.
what happened to him.
Just a lower body injury. It looked. They said at first like, oh, his skate blade broke, and maybe just an equipment issue. And then they went to commercial, and then they came back, and he's talking to the trainer, and then he's gone. Never returns to the bench. Fedotov activated as the emergency backup, so he can't sit on the bench, which I just think is dumb. The whole way they handle backup goaltending and all that, stupid. But we'll get into that maybe Monday or something.
I have to wonder, would it have been better just to have the Zamboni driver be the backup goalie
That's the
instead of Ivan Fedotov?
That's if you don't carry 3, like the Flyers just like in a weird situation today, would have at least had like their goalie come in. Not that maybe a Zamboni driver's better than Ivan Fedotov at this point, but like this is how we handle the goalie situation in the NHL. It's like, yeah, man, there's a men's league goalie who works here, so.
Yeah.
If 2 goalies get hurt, he's going to play.
He's going to play, yeah.
We're going to pull a guy out of the stands effectively. But they have their 3rd goalie, so they're able to bring him in, but not unless Korpoisalo gets hurt. He doesn't, and I thought he held up pretty well.
He looked okay.
Yeah, it's a second NHL action. He comes in cold. Boston, while the Flyers sucked today, we showed you the run that Boston had been on. They were on a losing streak.
Yeah.
They broke it against the Leafs. Then they get shut out by the Flyers on Tuesday. They get absolutely embarrassed by the Canes. So I do think there's a little bit of, listen, we're a good team, and we're going to take it out on you today.
They did look like you can't. It wasn't just the Flyers being trash. It was the Bruins played a pretty tight hockey game.
But I thought Korpoisalo looked fine, but now we're in a situation, and we don't have any update on Ersson except it was a lower body injury, and he didn't come back. I guess he'll be reevaluated.
Yeah, I don't know.
But let's say he has to miss not an insignificant amount of time, but let's rule out like a month or something. Let's say it's 2 weeks, 6, 8 games, whatever.
Well,
how would you handle this? Like, do you go a 50-50 split? Do you try to ride Korpoisalo? Do you maybe think about bringing up Cal Peterson just because he's played in the NHL before? Like, how would you do it?
I mean, I think the only thing that you can do is put Kolosov in there. Pray to every god that you've ever heard of that he can handle it. If he doesn't, then you got to put the other guy in and see what happens. It won't be good.
You're paying Ivan Fedotov. He's here.
Yeah.
You got to get him into a game event. We were just saying in pregame, like, well, he's got to play somewhere. Right. Not playing him isn't the answer. Because if he's going to salvage this thing, or we're going to collect enough information just to be like, okay, yeah, it's true. He does suck. Like, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It has to be through playing. Like, I don't think the 120 minutes or whatever he's played is enough to figure it out.
You got to go like 5 of 8 Kolosov.
Right, let's look at the schedule here. The Flyers.
Remember when Kolosov was like, "I'm leaving because you guys won't play me." We told you.
That was always the craziest thing.
Yeah, we told you were going to get in.
It's the Flyers. We saw them. I mean, they used like 5 goalies in a playoff once.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was only 2 rounds. They got swept in the second round. Like, it's not as if they went on a run to the cup. They used how many goalies? They used 8 a couple of years ago. All right, so they are off Sunday, Monday. Then they have an every other game situation. Every other day, there's a game situation. Tuesday at Carolina, Thursday at Tampa, Saturday at Florida.
Oh, boy.
Then they come home Monday to face the Sharks, then a couple days off, and it's the 14th against a very high-scoring Ottawa team, Claude Giroux.
Oh, no.
We'll have a watch party that day, so make sure you're tuned in for that. So let's say it's these next 5 games. Yeah. Against some pretty good opponents. Carolina, Tampa, Florida. There's the Sharks in there, but they've looked a little better recently.
There's the Fetty game. You put Fetty in for the Sharks.
Maybe that's what you do.
Yeah,
but
you put him in for the Sharks.
Kolosov
and
goes
you let Kolosov get lit up for every single one of those games.
Kolosov goes from, all right, man, we want to bring you over, but like, you're going to play in the AHL. There's nothing we can do about that. To, oh, wow, Fedotov stinks. You're our backup now.
Yeah, right.
To Carolina, Tampa, Florida.
Who boy?
Like, we're gonna play him those. I mean, I guess it all depends on how he looks.
On what's going on.
Like, if he gives up 8 goals to Carolina, yeah, I guess you don't play him 2 days later against Tampa.
Not, no.
But like, here you go. Here's Jake Gensel and crew. Yeah, here's the MVP, Nikita Kucherov, 150 points.
Yeah, Alexa, you told me you were ready for the NHL, so
I mean, let's go. You thought you were ready, you know?
Go.
Like, this kid was like, yeah, he put up good numbers for like a 19, 20-year-old or whatever. Like, it was good for his age, not KHL elite, like not dominating the way we're seeing Zavragin do right now.
No, which is why it was funny that everyone was like, I can't believe we're letting the best goalie prospect in the NHL get away from us.
Yeah, like it was, no, he's good for his age and he's like on the right trajectory, but nothing suggests like, oh yes, ready for the NHL now.
No.
Well,
guess what,
if you are ready like you thought you were, Alexi, I suppose get ready for some ice time, but this is going to be, if Ersson, and we don't know, maybe there's going to be a further update in post-game. Maybe Charlie will have something.
Just had tummy troubles. That's the lower body.
You want it to be that so bad.
We joke all the time in the BSH Slack that whenever it's a lower body injury that no one can identify, it's the poops.
Yes.
And maybe it finally happened.
I just feel as if...
Because it didn't seem like anything happened to him.
No.
I don't know what it could have been.
I guess if the skate blade breaks, he could have like rolled his ankle or something. I guess, and maybe it's just as simple as like, you're our only goalie. We're not throwing you back out there after you hurt your ankle.
Maybe.
We're saying goodbye to this game, and maybe Kolosov can hold it down. He wants to play in the NHL anyway. Have at it, bud.
I mean, when Ersson went out, the game was still very much a winnable
and it's not
game.
It's not as if it got away from Kolosov. No. He's not the reason they lost. What was he going to do? Pitch a shutout against the Bruins? Like, that was his... It still would have ended 0-0. Like, you got to get one. You still have to score. You cannot win 0-0, and that's what, like, you'd have to win in a shootout.
Right.
And still then, you'd have to beat, the Dominator Bruins Korpoisalo, apparently. Flyers killer. But it is... maybe we'll get an update from Charlie or something that, like... Yeah, Ersson's gonna ice it, and we'll see tomorrow. They actually think he's okay, or maybe it's more serious than that. But if it is more serious than that,
we're gonna have a party.
We are going to have a big contingent of fans saying, well, time to tank. Like that is, if he is out any more than like a couple of games, it's, oh yeah, time to.
Well, the stealth tank is on, William.
It is.
It's not that stealthy anymore either.
No.
The invisibility cloak is falling off of the tank.
The invisibility cloak. I mean, Ivan Fedotov is a one-man tank. He is. Yeah. He is the tank.
He is a big
if
tank
he has
of a
to play any considerable amount of games. All right. Before we go any further, I got to tell you about Game Time, baby. Game Time is my favorite secondary ticket marketplace. I'm actually going to an event tonight after this.
Oh, look at this
going
guy.
to the Leah Center for some AEW wrestling action. I got my tickets with Game Time. How did I do it? With their newest feature, Game Time Picks makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It's like, hey, man, this is a pretty good deal for this price. It shows you is it in the top 10, top 5, top 1% of deals, considering the seat location and the price. And then bang, kind of sorts them through quality there. It's great. All the other features that made Game Time great still exist as well. The all-in pricing, so no matter where you're sitting, you know what you're going to pay before you go through 9 screens of checkout, and you're like, yeah, I'm going, this is great. And then suddenly your ticket price doubled because there's all these hidden fees. Nothing hidden, all-in pricing. You toggle it on, boom, you know exactly what you're paying. Plus the seat views and the low price guarantee, not to mention the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Flyers could have used maybe a little game time today. But you know what else is today? It's Empire. I had nothing there. With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats. But the copycats can't beat Empire today on quality, service, or speed, so they just advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire today won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home they just wouldn't put in their own. The Empire philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles, and you can see those styles very easily with the virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see new floors in any space. Just snap a picture, see how the new floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHLY. See EmpireToday.com/PHLY for details. All right, Kelly, this offense. What
offense?
It is.
I don't know her.
Offensive.
Yeah, it is offensive to me personally.
And listen, there needs to be, it's not just the forwards, it's the breakout, it's everything. They're just spending way too much time in their own zone. But when they do get on offense, when they are there doesn't seem to be a plan. We were talking about this during the game. Remember years ago, back when we first started, and we talked about Dave Haxtell's offense.
Yeah.
There was so much low to high. It was their team identity. We're going to get the puck in, and then we're going to turn it back to the point men. We're going to crash the net. All shot attempts are basically going to come from the circles or above. The top of the circles or higher. Did not love the plan. In fact, we criticized it weekly.
Hated it.
But it was a plan.
Yeah.
I understood what they were trying to do.
They did it.
Yeah, it happened. They would execute this plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most effective, but it was still
they were doing it.
Something that they were trying to do and then did.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot identify what the Flyers' plan is when they gain the offensive zone.
There doesn't seem to be any coherence.
It's just like
what they're doing.
One guy is going to try to do something, and then hopefully
it goes around, and then it
just
goes
skate
back
around, and then eventually skate yourself into trouble, and have to fire off a desperation shot attempt that probably will not reach the net.
Right.
it's like we're just hoping to get lucky on offense. That seems to be the plan. One guy is going to try to do something he's not skilled enough to do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be rebuilding.
Right.
And maybe a teammate will recognize what he's trying to do and come and support, but probably they're not going to understand it because there's no plan. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's weird because like you and I for the last 10 years have been shouting about running more things from below the goal line. Take the puck all the way down there, do something cool with it. They seem to be like when they get a zone entry, which not a lot.
It's a struggle.
When they get one, they do seem to be taking the puck deep.
Down low.
Yeah. But then what?
Then nothing opens
then
up.
What happens out here?
Yeah.
So there's a guy that goes behind the net and then nothing is happening out here. So then he just ends up either winging it up along the boards to hopefully get a guy here who is like 30% of the time nobody there. Or he just skates it all the way around. And like you said, then they end up getting themselves in trouble and out of the zone again anyway. Like anytime they even seem to be doing stuff in the offensive zone, it doesn't seem to be coherent and nothing ever comes from it.
No.
Like there's just a bunch of skating around and sometimes there's passing, but like there's never a shot on net.
It was on a power play today. They actually strung together a few passes in a row and it's like, oh, they're moving the puck. There's some things happening.
But then
and it all resulted in Travis Konechny getting the puck basically as far away from the net, still in the zone as you can get at like the right point, and just firing a desperation like turnaround wrister that didn't reach the net. There just is no plan. And when you talk about getting shots on net, Hinkle, today they end up with what? 20? Did they get to 20 today? They had 5 in the
20.
First. They got 20 even. Yeah, 5 in the first, 7 in the second, a whopping 8 in the third. Trailing the entire game. Ended up pulling the goalie with about 4.5 minutes to go. They get 8 shots on goal in a game in the third period in which they were trailing the entire time. So for the last 9 games, 27 periods, single-digit shots in 20 of the last 27 periods. 16 of those 27, 7 or fewer. Like, they're not getting pucks anywhere close to maybe you can get lucky. Like, maybe one bounces in. Maybe there's a scrum in front, get a rebound. Maybe someone kicks it in and they don't get caught. Like, there's no action in the offensive zone. They never get shots off. And when they do, they miss or get blocked because it's all just individual efforts with a hope of a teammate or two figuring it out. They've talked about playing disconnected for a lot of the beginning of this season. What are we, 12, 13 games in? What is this, 12?
12?
It continues to be disconnected.
It's frustrating because they do at points, the puck is going off of sticks in the offensive zone at certain points in these games, but none of them are actual shots on goal. They cannot hit the net to save their lives. Wide open nets, they miss them. I don't understand how it's possible for NHL hockey players to be this bad at hitting the net so consistently. And it's getting to the point where we've talked about this over and over again with many different coaches because we've been doing this for too long. At a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is every single player on this team bad? Or is the guy telling them what to do in the offensive zone an absolute clown show? Because that's where I'm leaning at this point. We've been complaining about him for a while now. I don't know if Rocky knows what he's doing. I don't understand how.
I think that's like, that is also a big part of the Tortorella experience, is that he has openly said, I don't really know how you score goals. His thing is,
he should have learned it by now.
Ingraining this team with this good defensive structure and this mindset of playing tight checking, playoff style hockey basically. And that's great.
Cool.
But eventually they have to score. And if it's not Rocky Thompson, maybe these players just aren't good enough. But all of them
are bad. And also I feel like if they were just left to their own devices. They've been playing hockey for, 20, 25 years, most of them. If left to their own devices, I feel like they could figure out how to set up in the offensive zone and get sustained pressure. Whatever they're being told to do isn't working.
I can't even identify the plan.
I can't figure it out
because
either.
they're not on offense long enough. Again,
That's
look at
the
these
other
shot
thing, yeah.
totals, like 5, 7, 8. There's so many 3s and 5s in there. They have 10 shots in a period once in the last 9 periods. That's
good.
ridiculous. And I don't want to blame it all on coaching. The players absolutely
Sure.
And like, it's not even Tortorella, because if his thing, I always thought, like I've said this, I like him for this role now.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to win, like they need something else. Because it's like, oh yeah, when things are going wrong, my instinct is to bench some of the most offensively gifted guys. And it's like, well, we need a goal though.
Yeah.
I don't want that when it's time to win. But for this time period, I'm fine with it. If the whole idea is, okay, we have these guys who we think can score some goals down the line, whether it's Tippett, Forster, Frost, whoever.
Yeah.
If we ingrain them, if they just it becomes instinctual to play this good defensive hockey, and then eventually we start coaching offense, then it'll all come together and it's good. But when does that happen? You eventually have to learn how to score some goals, and this team is just offensively deficient.
Okay, they scored goals last year, though, did they not? Did we not score goals last year?
They did score more.
There was lots of shooting.
That was the thing, is last year their thing was being a volume shooting team. It was, we have to get as many shots up because we don't have many natural goal scorers.
Right.
We don't have the skill. John Tortorella says over and over again, we're not that skilled of a team. So we have to get a lot of shots in hopes of some of them become dangerous. Look at those numbers. They're getting no shots.
I wonder how many shots are just not hitting the net, so they're not counting as shots, because it does seem like at points they're firing.
I just had the event summary. So the Flyers, 20 of their attempts actually hit the net, and then another 19 got blocked and 8 missed. So well under 50% of their attempts hit the net today.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
You got to hit the net.
So what's that? 27 shots, 27 shot attempts, had no chance. 47 shot attempts, 20 hit the net.
But then there's also this situation where, and we've seen this over several games now, where guys have prime scoring chances. Morgan Frost had one today. Wide open net. And they just miss it or whiff on it or hit it and it's just like, how is everyone doing this? I don't get it.
That's the part on the players where I'm like,
yeah, you gotta.
One, maybe it's just bad luck, and maybe the opportunities are so few and far between that it's like the gripping the stick situation.
Exactly.
Like, I have to score. If I don't score, we're never going to score. And I honestly think there's a chance Morgan Frost never scores a goal again.
Never again.
That's just what it looks like right now. But there's no way Torts and Rocky Thompson are saying hey, keep missing open nets.
No,
because the Flyers, those are the 2 or 3 prime opportunities that go to waste every game. But there's also just there's only that many.
Yeah.
I'm putting the blame 50-50.
It's a whole problem.
It's just really a shame to see.
That said, I do think that the coach it's incumbent upon them to figure it out. If you're seeing that your players, for whatever reason, aren't getting it done, you need to make some adjustments to try to figure it out. And I don't know if that's happening, A, because I don't know what the plan is, so I can't tell if they've changed it. And B, nothing ever seems to be working. I kind of want to go back and watch that Minnesota game and see how they got about to scoring 7 goals, because at this point it doesn't make any sense to me that they did that. And I was there watching it with my eyes. I just don't know what to make of this team at this point.
I don't either. And one of the most discouraging things is this wasn't exactly prime Dominic Hasek in net today. Eunice
Oh, he's
Korpoisalo.
not good or what?
Eunice Korpoisalo stinks.
Yeah.
He's played 2.5 games not against the Flyers. He has an .853 save percentage. .853. That's like the Flyers were getting the worst goaltending in hockey about 9 games in. They were at .851. He himself was that bad. In 2 games against the Flyers, he stopped 17 of 18 Tuesday for a .944, 20 save shutout today. So he stopped 37 of 38 Flyer shots for a .974 save percentage.
Jesus.
.974 against the Flyers, .853 against not the Flyers.
Okay.
Well, again, this is a small sample size, so it's like, and then it averages out to like a mediocre goalie. Okay, sure. But they can't beat a guy who stinks. Like, that's, even with 20 shots, you need more than 17, 20 shots that they had over the last 2 games against him. But, like, you need to score more than once against him in 2 games. He's not good. Like, that's one of the most discouraging. It's like, Owen Tippett, do you still work here, man?
I got a problem
You
with
need to
him.
rack up goals against Eunice Korpoisalo.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
these are the games that you're supposed to.
I know goal scorers are streaky, and maybe it's not fair to put it on one guy. But no, you signed the contract extension. You're supposed to be a core piece. Score a goal against a goalie who stinks.
It's been enough games now.
Yeah, this isn't just a slump. He has 1 goal in 12 games. That's bad.
That's not okay.
That's really, really bad.
Yeah. That's not going to do it for me.
No, it just continues this. Morgan Frost, no goals. I want to see Morgan Frost work. It's just like,
I don't know what's happening to him.
At a certain point, you go, this is what he is. He's just not very good.
No, but we've seen better than this.
We have. And where is it? Like, you just have to eventually score a goal, man. There's
1 goal.
I know he'll get one, maybe, I guess. But when
It'll be some ugly off the butt goal.
This
that
team
someone shoots
absolutely overachieved last year, and
Of
maybe
course.
that's shading some of our. But some of these guys, a lot of these guys, are supposed to be core pieces. That's why we didn't tear it down. You know, that's why the plan is what it is. When do they start to show the progress?
Yeah, it's not great because we said last year that, like, okay, so the tear it down people were upset about the, almost playoff push that they ended up making. But people like me argued that, it's actually good because these players, we need them to be good.
Yeah.
When the team is going to be competitive. So, like, it's actually
really hard
good.
to find 18 guys.
Right. It's actually good that some of these guys are playing better than we thought they would. This year, they're not doing that at all. Like, not a one of them. Except for, like, Bobby Brink looked good today. I thought he's had some jump.
He had a real bad turnover, but after that, he made some offensive plays.
But again, like, he's a third-line player.
And
like, he's inconsequential, really.
You are always going to live with the good and bad of a player like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a third-line guy who generates offense, there's probably a reason you don't trust him with 18, 19, 20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And you use him on the power play. You try to get him favorable matchups, especially at home. Like, if he is the most dangerous guy on the ice today and they scored 0 goal, like, that's what it came down to. Oh, Bobby Brink, he had like 3 chances, it almost seemed. That was by far the most anyone had.
And like
2 good passes from Mish that ended in no.
Yeah, because no one can do anything
misses
with them.
the net.
He got one to Andre that didn't go anywhere. Like, through 12 games, Rasmus Ristolainen should not be the player that I've been most impressed with. Like, it really shouldn't be the case.
The guy who
right now it is.
I just need him to look not bad, so some dumb team trades for him.
Right. And
like,
now I'm like, well, actually, he's the cornerstone of our defense, so we can never get rid of him.
Actually, is he a first pair defenseman? 215-592. Like, that's what it feels like right now. It's, again, I don't expect this team to win every game. And like we started out saying, there is an element of, listen, Boston was going to get it together.
Yeah.
They are nowhere near as bad as they've played in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But they need to not suck. And today there was just nothing. Now joining us from the scene of the crime, it is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Charlie, before we get into anything else, you're down at the Wells Fargo Center. You just heard some post-game comments from the coach and players. What was your impression of today's game, and what's the feeling in the locker room?
Yeah, before I start, just want to say that there might be some background noise. The Wells Fargo Center is switching over for the Sixers game later tonight, so it's a little loud. But just so to head off that question,
I applied for that job once.
Did you really?
This changeover crew, yeah.
Seems stressful.
They didn't hire me.
All right. Well,
I imagine you didn't get it. Yeah.
No.
I think from my perspective, like, this is a Flyers team that we all knew going in didn't have a ton of obvious firepower. You're hoping that Matvei Michkov's going to show up and be awesome right off the bat, and he was. He's struggling over the last few games, but overall for a rookie, you can't complain with the production he's had through 12 games without a doubt. We knew that this wasn't a team that was stacked with talent, at least offensively. And they can't afford to have as many guys cold as they do now, because this was a team that, even if everyone is firing on all cylinders, they're probably a mid-tier scoring team if everyone is playing to their potential. And you've just got guys like Tyson Forrester, Owen Tippett, Morgan Frost, definitely, even Sean Couturier, who had the one really big game, but beyond that hasn't done that much. Joel Farabee, I think John Tortorella actually after the game praised Joel Farabee, but he said he's doing a lot of good things, just not scoring. Bobby Brink had the big goal 2 nights ago. He did a lot of good things, I thought, tonight, but also didn't score. The entire middle of their lineup is not producing, and they haven't been producing for pretty much the entire year. And this is not a team that can afford to have that many guys in the middle of their lineup delivering essentially nothing. And now they're all gripping the sticks too tight. I mean, you saw it with Morgan Frost. He has that opportunity right in front of the net, basically shoots it right into Korpoisalo. You have a lot of guys who just seem like they're in their own heads, and some teams can deal with that. Some teams have the talent where you can have there's the second line and the third line struggling because you got a Connor McDavid up at the top, or you have 4 lines and you got your first 2 lines are all top line caliber players. The Flyers aren't like that. They can't afford to have this many players struggling. And that's what's going on, because they have improved the defense. The defense has gotten better. You can't blame the goaltending for this one. Obviously they lose Ersson. That's a big story. Kolosov played pretty well. He's not the reason they lost this game. They lost this game because they can't create goals. They can't create shots on goal, and they can't create goals. And the reason for that is there are just way too many guys on this team that they need to not be elite producers, but at least produce something. And they're producing nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I know there's probably not a 50-goal scorer on this team, at least not yet. But like 1 goal, 3 goals, maybe someone can do that. But we're going to get back to the offense, Chuck. You mentioned you thought Kolosov played well. Was there any update on Sam Ersson beyond just the lower body injury?
Not really. We asked John Tortorella, and he more or less said, first he said body injury, then he said, I don't know. Now, of course, he knows more than he's letting on, but he's not going to tell us that. He said body injury, which is always funny when a coach or GM says that. I'm sure they know more than they're letting on. I will say that, and we talked about this, the reporters did on our way back up here, the way he was talking about, like, well, we'll see about, his status or whatever, it didn't necessarily sound like he was incredibly pessimistic. And that kind of jives with what we saw on the ice, because he didn't look that hurt. It almost looked like he was talking with the trainer to decide whether he should or should not leave the ice, like kind of saying like, well, maybe I could play through it. And Tommy Alva, the trainer, probably was like, nah, let's err on the side of caution and get you out of there. Look, maybe it's something serious, but it didn't look serious on the ice. Obviously, it came after that weird getting his skate blade knocked off thing, and maybe because he was balancing on one leg, maybe he pulled a little muscle or felt some tightness, or maybe it's completely unrelated. I don't know, but I don't want to speculate too much. I will say that the language and tone from John Tortorella, it didn't strike me as coming from a coach who, at least right now, thinks he's going to be out Sam Ersson for like the season or months. Good. So I don't know for sure, but I came away not feeling terrified that this is some like potentially season-ending injury.
Charlie, Boston coming into today had lost 5 of 6. They got shut out by the Flyers Tuesday. They got embarrassed by the Canes on Halloween. How much of the game today do you think was the Flyers just continuing to be off? And how much of it was just like, Boston isn't this bad, and they were going to rebound eventually?
Probably a little of both. You know, we talked to Brad Shaw yesterday after practice. John Tortorella had a prior engagement, I think. So we talked to assistant coach Brad Shaw. And Shaw said, like, look, Boston isn't this bad. They're going to figure it out. We just can't be the team that they figure it out against.
Well,
I thought the first period was that. I thought that was Boston coming out strong because they dominated the Flyers in the first. They controlled play. They come away with a 1-goal lead, but it could have been 3 goals. You know, Ersson made some good saves to start. He was really sharp before the injury. Kolosov made a couple. The 1 goal he allowed, can't quite decide if it was weak because it seems like Geeky like deflected it past him. It wasn't just a side angle shot from Poitras, so maybe it was like a legitimately difficult save. It was just a weird play, but they could have been down 3-0. Boston controlled the first period. I thought from then on, though, it was more about the Flyers because the Flyers created chances, especially in the second period. They created chances. They just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish or they couldn't hit the net or both. You know, sometimes they had opportunities and they just straight up missed the net. John Tortorella noted, and he was right. Not the empty net goal, obviously, that's a separate thing, but the 2 goals that Boston scored at even strength, they both came after the Flyers missed on golden opportunities.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying the Flyers deserved to win this game. Boston was the better team. They outplayed the Flyers. They outshot them. They outchanced them. The Flyers deserved to lose. But there is a world where Travis Sanheim finishes on that first chance. Boston never scores that first goal. Then there's a world where Sean Couturier finishes that great pass from michkov in the second. Flyers score there. Suddenly it's 2-0 Flyers rather than 2-0 Bruins. And then we're talking about how the Flyers stole one because Ersson had a great first few minutes and Kolosov finished it out. The Flyers didn't play that well. But I do think that a lot of this is their finishing problems and honestly just their offensive problems in general.
Yeah, Charlie, so before you got here, Bill and I were talking about how outside of the finishing problems, which are glaring, we can't seem to figure out what exactly they're trying to accomplish on offense. Like, what is the goal? What are we trying to do once we get into the offensive zone? What, in your mind, do you think the Flyers' like overall strategy on offense seems to be?
Well, I kind of disagree with the framing of that because I don't know if there truly is, for basically any team, I don't know if there truly is an offensive zone strategy. Like there are formations, there are plays you run, but a lot of it is just driven by the creativity and the talent of the players. You know, there are very few coaches that will, you know, tell a team, you have to do this in the offensive zone. It's more, hey, you know, we all know how to get structured in the offensive zone. Everybody has, you know, 2 defensemen up at the point, guys in the slot and whatnot. I think it's more on the players, truthfully. Like, and I think they're trying to create chances. They're trying to find each other for passes. They have the puck in the offensive zone. It's not like they're never getting there. It's not like they're spending the entire game in the defensive zone. They're in there. It's just that, you know, the passes up ice, the transition plays, they're a tick off. You know, even when they gain the zone, it's not fast enough. It's not as fast as it was last year. So they're not putting as much pressure on the defense. When they're in the offensive zone, the passes are just a little bit off, a little bit late, a little bit, you know, even if they get there, they're not on the tape, so they can't be one time. They have to be settled. It just seems like everything is just a bit off. And it's enough players that they can never sustain anything, and therefore they're never generating any momentum. Like there's never a time where like one line has a great shift, they pin them deep, and then the other line jumps on the ice and they're still tired. And then you have a 2-minute long shift where they're just cycling a team to death. That's not happening because there's enough guys that are cold on each line that they can't do that. And I think that more than anything, like I think it's less about not having a plan, because I don't know if teams really do have overarching offensive plans, and more that there are just so many guys that are off that they can't coalesce into anything remotely resembling a plan.
I guess like the idea, and maybe not so much a structure the way you have a defensive structure, but an identity. Like we started the show with, you know, we talked back when we all started together about the Dave Hackstall offensive system, basically.
And that was bad.
The low to high plays.
That was a bad system.
I didn't agree with it. It didn't work, but at least I saw what they were trying to do, and this seems so much based on individual efforts and chemistry and communication that is just way off. I don't know. I don't know if this is something that can get solved. Maybe it is simply some really ill-timed cold streaks for, you know,
everybody,
at least one guy on every line, you know. Yeah. But one player in particular, Charlie, I want to ask about. Does Owen Tippett still work here? Uh, I say that in jest, but like he had, I think, 6 shot attempts today, 3 hit the net. It's not as if he's not getting in on offense. I know goal scorers are streaky, but at what point is it not a streak and it's a bad season or something to be concerned about?
Oh, I mean, it's something that they very much should be concerned about. He's a goal scorer who has 1 goal in 12 games. This is concerning. And John Tortorella straight up said after the game, he said that, this is a team, and he's right. He's like, this is a team that is built on the strength of its wingers. He's been open and honest that the centers are a problem. That's what they're trying to build. That's why he pushed for an 18-year-old to make the team. Sean Couturier, he praised for how hard he's working. He made sure to give him his props. He's like, he's not scoring enough aside from that one game. But overall, this is a team that is driven by their wingers. And when you have 2 of their big wingers in Owen Tippett and Tyson Forrester that are producing essentially nothing. Forrester had that 1 big goal earlier this week, but beyond that, he's not doing much. Tippett, not doing much either. It really does drag down. Like that entire second line, I don't know. Do we call that like the freezer line? Because they're all ice cold. Like, and I like all 3 of the players.
Frost,
I do.
baby.
It's the Frost line.
Frosty.
Yeah, they're all cold, but I think they all are good players. I see all of them getting a lot of grief on social media, and I get it. Fans are frustrated. I think they're good players, but for whatever reason, none of them can produce right now. They're just, I don't know if they're in their heads or whatever, but yeah, Owen Tippett specifically, it just seems like he's going through different problems. Like in the beginning of the year, I feel like he wasn't, like first couple games, maybe he wasn't being impactful enough on the game. You weren't seeing him enough. Then he started shooting like crazy and couldn't hit the net. Then he disappeared again. Now he's popping back up again, and now he can't finish, even when he does hit the net. I have to think it's mental more than anything. But if you're asking me if it's a concern, of course it's a concern. I mean, he's one of their probably, 3 or 4 most important offensive players, if not players, period. And he's delivering them essentially nothing offensively when his entire job is to produce offensively. It's a major problem. And yeah, we're 12 games into the year. You have to ask if this is just going to be a down season for him. And as I mentioned at the start of my hit, the Flyers don't have the depth. They don't have the talent where they can deal with Owen Tippett having a down year. Because if he has a down year, they just don't have enough good offensive players to be able to handle that.
I know this is going to sound very unserious, but like maybe he ought to get Konechny's stick back. Like it's when he got going last year. I forget who it was. Was it you listened to Martitas every day? I think it might have been on Martitas' show. They were talking about how Michkov's stick looks too short.
It's really short, yeah.
And like maybe that's part of his problem. Although he does, I don't know how you could like really argue that he has a problem scoring goals, but like they were saying that his stick looks too short. I know that that's like a silly thing, but like we have a draft pick whose skates were too big and now he can skate. Like Owen Tippett couldn't buy a goal last season and then he accidentally used Travis Konechny's stick and then he was scoring goals. Like maybe it is just something that stupid to get these idiots going because like nothing else is working. So Charlie, my question is, can you sneak down and switch the sticks?
Relabel them.
Relabel them.
We'll get you a label maker.
Yeah.
I think you can make this happen.
I think I might lose my press connection.
You're incredibly stealth, in my opinion.
I just have one more for you, Charlie, before we get to 3 stars. It's not something we got to talk about yet. We're going to do it when we lose you. But we got a tweet asking if we think maybe Jamie Drysdale is kind of a square peg in a round hole as the guy at the top of the power play, being that quarterback up there. And I'm going to compare him to a player who is more of a transition guy that like maybe not the best power play numbers despite good offensive numbers throughout his career. Emil Andre just seems so much more adept at it. I know we want to try to train Drysdale to be that, but I just don't know if I've seen it so much out of him yet. What do you think about Drysdale on the power play?
Yeah, I'm not ready to pull the plug on that because to me I understand where fans are coming from. They're frustrated. They want this team to be better, but pulling Jamie Drysdale off the top power play unit strikes me as short-term thinking because the goal here needs to be developing Jamie Drysdale. The goal here is not let's win an extra game in November in a season where the Stanley Cup is not even a possibility. And even in a best case scenario, Stanley Cup was never a possibility. The goal here has to be over the long term, let's try to get the most out of Jamie Drysdale, who they trade a Cutter Gauthier for. So to me, this is way too early to throw in the towel on Jamie Drysdale as power play one guy. The skating ability is too good. The puck skills are too good for me to just be like, nah, that's Andre's spot because we want to win another extra game in November. No, I'm not ready to do that. Has Drysdale been great on the top unit? No, but honestly, over the last week and a half, very few players on the top unit have been good. I'm not ready to pin this on Drysdale. And I also wonder if this is a little bit of a shiny new toy thing where it's like, well, we don't hate Emil Andre yet, so why don't we put him on there? And then once you put him on there, then in 3 games, it'll be this guy sucks, send him down. So no, to me, if Jamie Drysdale pans out, a big part of his value is going to be on the power play. And this is the year where you want to just force feed him power play time to hopefully give him the opportunity to work through his issues and get better at it.
Yeah, there does have to be some understanding that this team is like, this is evaluation, this is rebuilding, this is what it is. We're going to put guys in situations that maybe they're not ready for yet, but we want them to be in a year or two. So maybe it's just something we have to live with. Charlie, let's hit those 3 stars.
Yeah, sure. And I'm gonna be weird here, and I'm actually gonna pick 2 Flyers.
All right.
Not because I think the Flyers played especially well in this game. They clearly didn't. But honestly, because I don't think there were really that many Bruins that played especially well either. It was more of a team win for them. So 3rd star, I'm going to go with the skater, who I thought was the best for the Flyers, and that was Bobby Brink. I thought he was the most active. I thought from the jump, he looked like a guy who looked freer after scoring that game-winning goal in the St. Louis game. He was active. I think he rang one off the crossbar at one point. Like, I don't think there were many Flyers that had legitimate chances to score in this game. I felt like every time Brink was on the ice, he had a shot. He didn't, but he had a shot. And maybe he can build on that going into the road trip next week. So for that reason, Bobby Brink, 3rd star.
All right, how about star number 2?
Star number 2, I'm going to give it to Kolosov. Honestly, I mean, Ersson probably had the better game, in terms of like per minute.
Yeah.
He didn't give up a goal. He was real sharp from the jump, but obviously then he leaves with the injury. Kolosov was not perfect. The Poitras goal is probably one he should stop. It was a weird play. But given the situation and given the fact that he came in, under duress against a Boston team that was firing on all cylinders, at least as much as they can at this stage of the year, they were coming in hungry. He kept the Flyers in the game. The Flyers could have won this game if they would have had any finishing ability and any offensive confidence. They didn't. But I thought Kolosov, especially given the fact that he was coming in after Ersson, who had 2 straight great games, the guys were demoralized when they saw him go out. This game could have gotten out of hand quickly. It didn't. I thought Kolosov played well, and it's a really good thing for the Flyers that he played well, because if Ersson has to miss any time, presumably Kolosov's going to be the guy that gets the net, at least for the next few games. So for that reason, Kolosov, star number 2.
Hit us with the 1st star.
Yeah, I'll go with Korpoisalo. And again, like, this is kind of a gimme. Like, he gets a shutout. Only made 20 saves. I don't think he was amazing. He did make some tough saves, though. You can yell at Morgan Frost for not roofing that shot, but Korpoisalo still has to make the save. It's still a lunging, diving stop that he has to get over to stop. And he didn't give up any weak goals. There weren't any seeing eye shots that it would give the Flyers momentum, give them some confidence. He made all the saves he had to make. Would I say it was the most difficult game in the world for Korpoisalo? No, I wouldn't. But he did his job. He did his job as perfectly as he could have done it in this game, and for that reason, he's my number 1 star.
The Dominator, Joonas Korpoisalo, in 2.5 games against other teams, an .853 save percentage. 6 periods against the Flyers, he stopped 37 of 38 for a .944. The Dominator, Joonas Korpoisalo. That is Charlie O'Connor coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center. He'll be back for whenever the next show we do. Tuesday's postgame, is that when they play next? Charlie will be with us for that, so make sure you tune in. Charlie, thank you very much. Enjoy the road trip.
Hi, Charlie.
All right, that was Philadelphia's number 1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. And now, for a quick second, I got to tell you about Ace Hardware. That's right. If you've got a leaky pipe, Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. If you have an air conditioning issue, they've got a person for that too. Maybe that faucet you said you'd fix last fall. Well, guess what? It's November again, bud. You didn't get around to it. I know how that goes. You think, yeah, I can do that. And then you start and you're like, I got no chance. Well, you are in luck because Ace has the person for that as well. They are now not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, Ace has the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, we're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project today. Maybe you have a little bit bigger of a project. Maybe you're looking for something a little larger than a little repair. You need C-Jam Construction. That's right. C-Jam Construction has been family-owned home remodeler specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring, and their goal is to help their clients alleviate the challenges and frustrations that come with home remodeling. And they're also running a sale right now. Prices starting at $249 a square foot with savings up to 35% off retail. Taxes and fees are extra. CoreLogic flooring is 100% waterproof, formaldehyde-free, and features an elegant natural wood look and feel. It's durable with no less than a 20-millimeter wear layer and an overall plank thickness of 5 millimeters. So be sure to mention PHLY when you call 856-329-2933 about your next home project. See their full selection of luxury vinyl plank flooring and learn more about the products and warranties on the website cjamconstruction.com/flooring. All right, Kelly, I want to get into some of this. What the hell was it? That last read totally threw me off. Yeah, the conversation about Jamie Drysdale on the power play.
I didn't want to argue with Charlie while he was on television.
Yeah, it's
because I don't think he answered the question that you were asking.
Yeah, it's not so much about now because I'm not fine with it. It annoys me when the power play is no good, but honestly, It's been 4 years, so what are you gonna do?
Right.
But the question we got was from I just brought it up here. This show's going great.
I think it's
Maxeltoff on Twitter. He says, is making Drysdale the quarterback on the power play just forcing a square peg in a round hole? It doesn't look great, and he's not exactly dynamic. Now, when I started thinking of square peg in a round hole, I started thinking, what does Jamie Drysdale, or what do I think he'll do well at this level once his full game comes around? And I don't want to compare him to like Erik Karlsson because like Erik Karlsson's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of, if not the most accomplished defenseman of this generation. He's one of them. He's freaking awesome. But watching Drysdale, I see a little bit of Karlsson in that he's more of a transition player with his skating, with some of the outlet passes I've seen him throw.
Yeah.
More of a time and space from the back end, finding a guy down the ice or creating a rush with his speed. And that's what we saw so much out of Karlsson. Karlsson's averaged over 70 points, a 70-point pace from age 23 to 32.
That's wild.
He did have some power play success.
Yeah.
Not like he was bad on the power play, but it's not like he was Mike Green, a guy, Brent Burns, just like feasting on the power play the way some of these offensive defensemen do, the way Shane Gostisbehere did when he was here. It was just like, yeah, man, set him up with a 1T, and it's you're getting something. You're getting a goal, or you're getting a scrum in front, something. Right. Maybe that's not who Drysdale is.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's more of a transition defenseman who at 5-on-5 creates the plays, creates the long passes, beats you with his skating, creates a rush with his speed. But maybe he's not bombing away from the point. Maybe playing point guard up there and making those decisions. Yeah. Do I pass or shoot? Maybe that's just not who he is. And Emil Andre looks a little more adept at it. Now, I'm fine with force-feeding him the time, like Charlie said, because, hey, man, we need to make him into something. And if he can be a guy who turns into a power play weapon, I mean, that's something.
That would be good if he could, yes.
That's good. But right now, I don't know if that's who he is.
No, I would like to see you and Charlie have this conversation on a regular show because I think it's worth having, because I think that you have a point that, like, it's not about giving up on Drysdale's development. It's about, like, what are we developing him into the best version of himself?
Maybe that's not the best version of him.
Or are we trying to make him a power play quarterback? Like, which of those things are we trying to do? It should be the best version of himself. And maybe it's not power play quarterback, because I feel like one of the knocks on Drysdale that I read all the time is about the hockey IQ, that he's not great at making quick decisions with the puck. And that's kind of what a power play quarterback needs to do. So, like, maybe he definitely has the physical tools for that job, but maybe he doesn't have the complete package for that job. So it might be worthwhile to think about finding another direction for him.
Because
like
you are also developing Emil Andre.
Right, exactly. And and that's the other thing. Like, we don't have to pretend that Emil Andre is, on the whole, as good as Jamie Drysdale, and that's why he should replace him on power play one. Like, Emil Andre's specific skill set that he has,
maybe it's just more
seems
suited.
to be suited for a power play. And so, like, I just kind of think that, like, it doesn't need to be your best defenseman as your power play one guy. Like, the power play needs to be a very, like, surgical and specific unit of players that work well together to do this one specific thing. And it doesn't seem like Jamie Drysdale is that guy.
Yeah, I'm just not sure exactly what kind of player he's going to be yet, and it's going to be a whole redevelopment process. They've told us time and time again, like, we're basically teaching him to play hockey. Pretty decent career already for a guy who doesn't know how to play hockey. You know, like, he's if they can do that and power play is part of it, cool.
Yeah, cool.
But maybe it won't be. So it's just,
and it doesn't need to be for him to be successful.
Not everyone has to be that guy. Like, yes, Ivan Provorov was for a time the Flyers' best 5-on-5 defenseman. And a lot of times power play time is a reward for 5-on-5.
Right.
But if a guy is actively not great at it and someone is better, you need to make those decisions. Exactly. But we'll see. We got time. There's 60 games left, 70 games left.
Oh, God.
I'm great at math.
There's 70 games
Yeah,
left.
70 games left.
Oh, boy.
All right. Before we wrap up today, I want to thank all of our diehards. And if you're not a diehard, go to allphly.com right now and sign up. $48 for the year. It comes down to $4 a month. Get the annual subscription for $48. This offer is not going to last. I think it ends like Tuesday. So sign up right now. Become a diehard. And while you're there, check out the events calendar and come on out to our watch party at Screwballs in King of Prussia on November 9th. It's next week against the Florida Panthers. Going to be a great time out there. Get a ticket on allphly.com on the events page so you can enter into the raffle. It's good. It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. Sweet tickets to a game. We're going to be raffling off. You get 2 complimentary Coors Lights. So check it out. Tickets to a game. Coors Light, just enter the raffle at allphly.com. Come on out. Screwballs in King of Prussia. Live show, watch party. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh,
all right.
These super chats.
Let's hit those super chats. We have a first one from Who Is Mike Mall, a point producer who produces no points. The Morgan Frost story. It's really...
He's doing
We're just getting very frustrated with Morgan right now because he has shown us he's better, but this is the problem with Morgan Frost. Is like, I bet you he has a hot streak and we'll go, oh, well, he was like 4th in the NHL in points from December to March.
Last 55
it's like, well, the
games,
season's
baby.
82 games.
Yeah, right.
We don't have these periods of time. Like, we have to decide on Morgan Frost. I realize he's just a restricted free agent. But why extend a guy who you just don't think is ever going to be anything else?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
At a certain point, it's like, no, we're just moving on. You don't need a direct replacement for him.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's not him. If it's not him, he's got to show us it is or isn't soon. And I am starting to kind of just come down on the it ain't ever going to be him thing.
Doesn't seem like it.
I
wanted it to be. It's just.
I wanted it to be too, man. That was our draft party. And Nolan Patrick sure as hell didn't work out.
Sure didn't.
My guy Isaac Ratcliffe sure as hell didn't work out.
What a cursed-ass draft party that we had.
Owen Tippett got taken 10th in that draft. We're frustrated with him too. The 2017 draft is the worst thing that's ever happened in this damn team. Anyway, all right, let's hit JH's first super chat here. Says, as a noted Ersson person, I'm going to say person like Ersson.
No, that's funny. Yeah.
I'm very worried about Sam.
Charlie made it sound like not a big deal.
Charlie made it sound about like not a big deal, and he said the team doesn't seem as if it's a big deal.
It certainly didn't look like a big deal.
The Flyers, however, have this history of thinking things aren't a big deal, and then we never see guys again.
It's just saying his foot's gonna fall off while he sleeps.
Like, it was like, yeah, we don't really know what's up
No.
with Rasmus, and he played 30 games last year. Like,
that was funny. He was like week to week for like 27
he missed
weeks.
the first
Yeah.
part of the season. I don't know if we ever even got an answer on what that was.
No, I don't think we did.
And then he was like, yeah, he's never coming back.
No.
Like, it was just
Never.
Yeah, and Ryan Ellis, it's just nipples to knees. It's a multi-layered
knees.
injury that ended his career. We still don't know what that is. Like, eventually that
He's fine.
they have made some changes to the staff, and there's a lot of turnover in the front office. It's a different regime and everything, but they have to earn our trust back.
Yeah.
In terms of injury reporting. So I'm not.
He's fine.
It doesn't sound like a big injury. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but I'm not going to be optimistic about anything until I see him back on the ice, and then like play a game and get through it. All right, this next one from JH. Flyers Tankathon draft sweepstakes begins. Listen,
It's not
if
stealth
Ersson
anymore.
is going to miss any amount of time, like 2 weeks more, yeah, it is maybe. I get tweets about the draft now, and I'm just like, I can't do it because, again, there's 70
No, I
games left.
can't.
Like, I
It's
can't.
too soon.
I can't do that to myself mentally because then I'm like, what am I doing? Pre and post game every day for what?
We've done that
I
before.
can't, and
we
I
can't
know,
do
and
that
it
again.
drove me
I
insane.
know. We can't do that again.
Now that it's my career, I can't allow that to like.
No.
Yeah, month of March, I'm not doing post games. I will get fired.
Yeah, they're gonna make
so
you do
I
them.
can't do that. But it's just like if I'm already going, well, it's Tankathon, then there's 70 more of these.
It's
I can't allow that into my head yet.
It's objectively funny. It's like extremely Flyers that like all before the season starts,
Michkov,
I
I guess.
well, if the goaltending's bad, it'll just be a stealth tank.
Yeah.
Goaltending's gonna just tank the season.
Yeah.
No. It's just that no one can score a goal.
They are
Goaltending's
allergic.
fine.
They are allergic to scoring goals.
They'll just never score a goal.
After the goaltending, like the goaltending was horrible, and then it worked itself out. Really, just Ersson came back to being him, and Kolosov doesn't look terrible. They don't score ever. Like one of their 4 goals over the last couple games is an empty netter. They have 3 real goals in the last 3 games. All right, this next one here from Scotty's Wild Scotty's Wild Adventures. I blacked out when Ersson went down. Did we win?
Yes.
Yes, we
just
did.
don't turn the television on.
Yeah.
But yes.
We're all winners here.
It's true.
If you are here, and especially if you're a super chatter, you're a winner, damn it.
The real
Don't let the
victory,
Flyers tell
as
you otherwise.
always, is the friends we made along the way.
Kelly, if it wasn't for you, I would have given up on the Flyers. But thank God for the friends we've made along the way.
Exactly.
All right, this next one from Scotty's Wild Adventures. Rocky Haircut Thompson is an offensive-minded dynamo. No one ever.
He is offensive to me.
Yeah, again, Charlie makes it like it's not so much. I guess you develop your identity, and it's not so much a strategy. And like this team just hasn't been able to develop an identity because they're never on offense.
Strategy.
But there has to be some, especially
Every
again,
team does it different.
if the offensive strategy is like, well, it's based on the team's skill and creativity, that means there isn't one. Again, the 19-year-old is the most offensively created guy we have, and he doesn't speak freaking English. So, like, what? Just see what he does and hope you're in the right place?
That doesn't seem to be working.
It doesn't seem like that's a good plan.
No one's ever in the right place.
No.
No.
We have, like, what, 1 rebound goal this year? It's just really... Watching them on offense is...
I forgot to make this point earlier. An extremely frustrating thing that I've noticed about this dumb team. How many times did Korpoisalo get a shot directly into his glove that he was able to easily place down onto the ice for one of his teammates to take away? Like, why is there never any, like, following the puck to the net? I don't get it.
Because no one knows that guy's going to shoot. So they don't crash the net because there's no plan.
All right, sorry.
All right, yeah, it's very, very frustrating. All right, K-Red, I believe, is next. Yeah, let's see what K-Red has to say. Misha's short stick is likely a deliberate choice. A shorter stick makes one's shots less powerful, but aids in stick handling. Yeah,
there is a blue shoe read somewhere here today.
You absolutely, like, a player like him wants the short stick so that he can handle the puck in tight, and he is a very skilled player in the tight space game. That's definitely it.
Got to do creative things with the short stick.
I do wonder if it could maybe be, just an inch or 2. Just a little bit. But yeah, no, it is definitely, it's a part of his game. It's part of what makes him it's definitely a choice. All right. Was Declan McManus. Being a Flyers goaltender is like being a drummer in Spinal Tap.
What a reference.
That's what makes the Kolosov thing so funny. It's like, well, my path is blocked. It's like, buddy.
By who?
Buddy, you signed your ELC when we had a number one goalie, and then now he's facing charges and no longer on the team.
No.
Like, you are in no way blocked. You know, like Sam Ersson, we don't even know if he's like anything but a backup. No. And he looks good right now, but you're in the NHL now. You're probably starting the next game. The whole thing was funny.
It was very funny.
And now we're in a situation where it's like, you're the number one. Congratulations.
I was going to say, like,
Alexei Kolosov, two games after getting called up, he's the number one.
If in 3 months he was the number one goaltender, would you like be at all surprised? Because I wouldn't.
No.
Not even a little bit.
We once brought Michael Leighton back in the 2011 playoffs. Like, that happened.
Like, Cal Peterson's definitely going to play a game for the Flyers this year.
It's hard to imagine a situation where he doesn't play one at this point.
Nah, it's happening.
All right. This next one from Ed Wright. He says, maybe Ian LePerriere can develop one of those AHL players into a productive NHL player.
He won't do that.
I will give them Cam York. Now, maybe Cam York was just always going to be something.
Yeah.
But John Tortorella said out loud, I'm not sure if Cam York, like the way he thinks about Bobby Brink right now, I'm not sure if he's an everyday NHL player. He hasn't shown me that yet. And now Cam York is this team's best defenseman. So he's hurt.
We're not giving that WT and LePerriere. I'm not allowing it to happen.
I guess there's guys. I don't know.
No.
I don't know
We're
what
not
goes
doing
on
that.
down there.
Nobody does.
From Rye Parr. Prediction on upcoming Canes games.
I predict that the Canes will have the puck for 78% of the time.
The Carolina Hurricanes are excellent at generating shots and not allowing shots.
Yeah.
The Flyers are horrible at getting shots on net.
Yeah.
So I am predicting if it's Alexei Kolosov, he gets a lot of looks.
I predict another 6 shots through 40 minutes type of situation.
It could very much. And listen, they scored 7 that game. And that's the game they scored 7.
Maybe that's the key. They got to just hold it. They got to reserve all of their energy for the third period and then score 6 goals.
Yeah, if it's Kolosov, I think Kolosov's he's going to get tested. You told us you were NHL ready, bud.
First of all,
here's your chance.
Also, why are you asking us? Where's Neal? Ask Neal.
Ask Neal Dexter, honestly.
Ask Neal what the prediction is. We don't know.
Neal, get in touch with me if you want to host. If you want to co-host a pre or post game.
Come hang.
Yeah, come on.
It's fun here.
We have couches. It's fun. Sometimes we order food. It's a nice time. All right. That's pretty much it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers postgame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, subscribe right here in the YouTube. Follow us so you never miss a live show. Hit that reminder bell so you get the notifications. And follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. You'll find our schedule pinned there. We will be back Monday, Kelly and I, with a live show while Charlie is traveling on this road trip. And then Tuesday will be pre and post game. So all that fun stuff coming up this week. Make sure you check that schedule and follow the podcast as well. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right, my name's Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until next time, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.